Well, let's begin with the latest. This is kind of interesting. We don't do these every day, but the latest morning consult survey shows President Biden holding a 2-point advantage over Donald Trump, 44 to 42 among registered voters nationwide. That's within the poll's margin in error. What's interesting, though, is it's a pretty big shift from a January survey, which found Trump leading Biden 45% to 40%. The swing toward Biden is partly due to an increase in support among independents. In January, independents backed Trump by 10 points, 38% to 28%. In the latest poll, Biden and Trump are tied with 34% each. What do you think, Joe?
Well, you know, Will, we always say it's about trend lines. This is one of many polls, but we're saying that more often lately. Oh, this is just one of many polls, one of many polls. What we saw last week was a poll that showed Biden making great strides and doing it on the strength of younger voters coming home. What we're seeing now is Biden making really good strides on the strength of independents coming home. And I saw Dan Pfeiffer, I think it was Dan Pfeiffer, saying the important thing about the State of the Union address wasn't that it was going to give Biden a quick bump. It's that it proved the Republican lie that he was some doddering old man, some doddering idiot. Just proved that to be a complete lie, that this is a guy that actually gave better than he got. And it's actually House Republicans and Donald Trump that are looking like, you know,
and it's interesting because
idiots.
That's what the Biden campaign wants the public to believe and wants us to believe, which is the more they see of Joe Biden, and in contrast, the more they see of Donald Trump, the more independents in particular are going to like Joe Biden. So they saw the State of the Union. You've seen a bump since then for the president. They said, okay, he looked solid that night. He's up to this job. And now they're seeing more and more of Donald Trump. They're seeing the repulsive stuff he's putting on social media. They're watching how he behaves outside the courtroom. And people who may have tried to tune politics out and who could blame them for the last couple of years are starting to tune back in and go, ugh, I don't think I want to do this show again. I don't want to see this movie again. So we'll see if those trend lines continue, but certainly in the last couple of weeks in the favor of President Biden.
Well, and Gene, two things going on also right now is you have Trump getting more important by the day. You know, all these people, they're just tweets. Oh, they're not just tweets. No, this is an out-and-out call for authoritarianism. This isn't just tweets. This is calling for the assassination of political opponents. So you have that on one side. And especially these Wall Street guys, I will never vote for Donald Trump ever. And then, 3 days later, I'm kind of leaning toward it, which is just... It's obscene. It's absolutely obscene. And this BS, Joe Biden's a socialist. They love to say that. Joe Biden's really? Yeah, is that why you get richer by the second? Is that why you have more money than you know? You know, their problem tax season is, it really is. If they're investing in the stock market, it's not that he's a socialist and they've got to figure out how to hide money. It's that they're making too much money. And they got to figure out how to hide all the record profits they've made this year. Stock market at an all-time high. So that's on one side, right? This desperation to justify supporting a fascist because you think it may be good for your bottom line. And then on the other side, you have the fact that Joe Biden is doing something, Gene, that nobody has done to Donald Trump in all of his years in politics. He's taken it to him every day. He's mocking and ridiculing him. Donald Trump can't even put up anymore that he cheated to win his club championship anymore without Biden making a fool of him. Everywhere he moves, Biden and his campaign are just tweaking him, mocking him. And suddenly this bully isn't looking so tough.
Absolutely. Don't underestimate the mocking. This is really, a lot of people sort of question that at first. Is this really the right line for the Biden campaign to take? I think we can now say, yes, it is. It's a very promising line for the Biden campaign to take, and it drives Donald Trump crazy. And that's not much of a drive, actually. I mean, he's already there, but he's going to get increasingly frantic, increasingly cornered by all these court cases, by all the money he has to put up, and this is a bad period in this campaign. campaign for Donald Trump. And I think there's every reason to expect that it's going to get worse. As you said, watch the trend lines. The trend lines are clearly in Biden's favor right now. I know we're going to talk about Florida later, but what happened in Florida yesterday, potentially puts that red state back in play, a state without which Republicans cannot win. Donald Trump cannot conceivably win. At the very least, he's going to have to put a whole lot of time and money in trying to defend Florida. It's not the sort of rosy political picture that they like to paint down at Mar-a-Lago anymore. In fact, it's not looking so good for the former president.
So I was speaking yesterday to a senior Biden campaign official who said, first of all, in the State of the Union, that target message was nervous Democrats. That's the audience they needed to reach. The likes of David Axelrod, who a few months ago said Joe Biden should step aside, is now saying he's our guy. And not just to pick on Axelrod, there's a lot of Democrats who are feeling that, Molly. They've now feeling much better about their candidate's chances that he's up to the job. And we're seeing that movement here after a campaign blitz through 8 battleground states. The other thing this official said to me yesterday is their theory of the case has long been, we've talked about it on the show, the more Americans hear Donald Trump, the more they'll be repulsed by him, and independents and swing voters will say, we can't do that again. Well, the issue is Trump's largely been off stage the last month, and these numbers have already started to move. That changes tonight. Donald Trump is going to be in Wisconsin delivering his first rally in front of a crowd of people in a month. If that Easter Truth Social post was any preview, we're going to be in for some unhinged comments, and then we know how he reacts to pressure. Political pressure, starting to trail in the polls. Legal pressure. He's got to be in a court in 2 weeks. This could go south pretty quick for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, the visual of him sitting in a New York City courtroom for weeks and weeks with people like his former fixer, Michael Cohen, Stormy Daniels, and maybe Hope Hicks, right? We don't know who's testifying where. I think that's going to be really a rough visual for voters. And look, we've never had an election where one candidate is sitting in a courtroom like this for weeks and weeks. So I actually think it's really going to be a heavy lift. And just because all of this has helped him with the base, he needs to expand the electorate in order to win, right? He's never worked on expanding the electorate. And I think that this is a bad look for swing voters.
And has no interest in expanding the electorate, Eddie. He won't even go after Nikki Haley's voters, who are Republicans, who he needs to bring back into the fold. He says, no, and Joe Biden's taking advantage of that with aides courting Nikki Haley's voters. But what's interesting, to Molly's point inside that poll, the top line number is interesting, but the independent swing of 10 points in just a couple of months, that's where the action is in the general election.
Right. We need to brace ourselves for an unhinged Trump, I think. Jonathan is right. But he's in Michigan and he's in Wisconsin for a reason. Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. So I understand the consult poll is a snapshot, but I want to understand what the swing has been in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, because we know that's what matters, right? And so it's great to see Joe Biden out there, as Joe, you described, what's happening coming out of the State of the Union. But what matters, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania.
I miss those 3 states. Now, you're right. If he wins those, that's it. And I'm curious, Jonathan, how are they feeling in those states right now?
Certainly better. There's still worries about Michigan. We know that the Gaza conflict really weighs heavily there. Some Biden aides have said to me that they think that some of those Muslim voters, Arab American voters, young voters, they're gone. They're not going to come back to him. They're not going to go to Donald Trump, but they're going to stay home and find a third-party candidate. But they feel like they can stitch together a coalition there to still win. Wisconsin is actually usually the closest of these 3 states. Yeah. That's the one they feel best about right now. It's been trending that way. There was obviously there have been some abortion decisions there of late that they feel like is breaking their favor. They like the Senate race there too.
Strangely enough, older white dudes have held for Biden.
Yeah.
I say it's really strange because we have all these sort of simplifications of how voters go, but there are older white men are doing much better for Biden, and I suspect it's because You know, I guess the older you are, the more conservative you are, which usually turns you against Democrats and toward Republicans. But here, conservative with a small c looks at a guy that's trying to destroy their life that they've known for 60, 65 years. They want no part of it.
And also the president has done things for seniors, for capping prescription drug costs and the like. And then Pennsylvania, of course, is the state where President Biden has spent the most time in. It's in his backyard. They know Trump's strength in rural areas. That's going to decide. Well, one could argue the whole election is going to come down to whether they can turn out voters in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, young voters, black voters. That might be the whole thing.
But
right now, they feel okay.
But having Democratic governors
Helps.
in those 3 states really does help.
And good Senate candidates in all 3.
Yeah. Hey, Mika.
Hey, everyone. MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.